In this video, I'm going to recapping on my job hunting experience throughout my study at MScA program with the University of Chicago. I'll also cover, what are some of the stuff I could do better when it comes to preparing for my career, when it comes to optimize my school, my personal life. In the past 2 years, I probably had applied for hundreds of jobs and positions. So out of probably less than 200 rounds of interviews, I was able to get several offers from various companies. I remember I was forever in the mode of interviewing and changing jobs while studying as a part-time student. After summer intern of 2021, I applied or got reached out by many full-time or contractor job opportunities in data science and analytics. Interviewed with many companies. So as a result, I took on 2 different job offers, which is one is marketing agency company, one is a top consulting firm. So why did I go through that much efforts to switch jobs during my graduate school? One of the reasons is that because of the economy that is pretty good for job hopping, demand on the labor was so much booming, and then a lot of business just immediately needs a lot of people. And the other one reason is that one of my goals going through graduate school is to explore as many industry companies and different data science real world projects as I could to satisfy my desires to learn on the most varieties of knowledges, and also those opportunities help me to gain lots of intuitions through those real world problems. I was kind of doing this I'm learning field courses and applying for a new job that according to the skills that I acquire from the classes, because that's kind of how I feel like I am learning, because I'm a good practitioner. I took some knowledge, I try to understand it, and I try to do homework practice on it. And if I don't apply in a real world problem or apply to a real job, I will probably forget about it. I believe as a student, one of our top priorities to explore what are out there while we're in school. Especially University of Chicago has that reputation of the most prestigious school in the world. It's just the name give you so much more titles and privilege, and also that halo around you to help you to stand out in the job market while you're still a student at that school, or maybe shortly after you graduate. But that halo of a Ivy League level graduate will be running out. Maybe after a year or two you graduate from the program, nobody care about that anymore. Everybody start to pay attention to your actual work experience and actual contribution. So while I still have that halo, I still have that privilege, I felt entitled to explore and jump into as much opportunities that I can. And I believe all the students should go through these phases of finding, exploring what kind of opportunities and that excites you, and then that fits your personality. Which company has the culture that attracts you the most? What are some of the ways of living or industry that you want to get deep into? So at the same time, data scientist is kind of profession or career that require a person to constantly learn new stuff, whether in your industry, your business requirements, new technologies, new modeling technique, or to constantly working on your soft skills as a great team worker, project owner, and a great communicator. So from all the interviews and the different real life projects, it helped me to find my strength and weakness at the current stage of my career. So you can also form your own judgment on what are some of the good signs for a good jobs, or the alarming flags for the company who has a toxic working cultures that you should run away from. You can explore to see if a certain exciting job that you may or may not be ready, or find out what are some of the gaps in your skills, in your preparations between how you see yourself versus how the market sees you, right? So next time you can better prepare yourself. By working with internal and external HR or headhunters, or doing interviews with different hiring managers, you can also start to accumulate your job networks by listening to or give self-pitch about companies, positions, or about yourself. For example, I have worked with many great recruiters who can strongly represent the healthy working cultures of a company, but some recruiters are extremely irresponsible and non-responsive. You can clearly see some very respectful to the candidates, and some are just using candidates as pawns for jobs that they're recruiting for, instead of treating them as available human resources. I personally has many flaking recruiter experience. It was such a time waster, and it kind of gave me this bad impression on certain companies, but at the same time, many different recruiters do behave differently. Sometimes maybe one or two like a bad recruiters from a good reputable companies may impair your impression to that specific companies, but sometimes maybe keep an open mind on other future position that's opening, because you never know. Some recruitment process is just like a very, very different. What are some of the stuff that I wish I have done better or I kind of regret? One of the things that I wish I could have done better is to plan my work life a little bit better and then avoid the burnout situation as much as I can. I feel like after going through the MScA program as a part-time student, I was taking 1 to maybe 2.5 classes top every quarter, or it's already a lot, while I'm like constantly hopping on new jobs, new opportunities, preparing for projects, and also applying for jobs and preparing for interviews. It kind of gave me less time to enjoy my life, to pay attention to what are some of the stuff that I should care more about in my life. And also, I did end up not having enough time to perform everything that's well thought of or in a satisfying attitude or mental state, which didn't give me that much great closure on lots of stuff that I started. And also there's some family emergency going on in my life back at the beginning of 2022 or during 2022. With all those burdens from my jobs, from school, I start to feel very depressed. I feel very down, and I could not perform as well as I could or should in my homeworks and jobs, and also most importantly, my personal relationship. My busy schedule started to jeopardize one of the most valuable relationships that I ever had, and then that breakup caused by me being negligent, people's feeling, and it kind of kills the relationship with someone I love deeply. And also because there was loss of my family, and then there was still COVID-19 going on back in China, I started to regret a lot of stuff that I did or I wish I didn't do, so I can have more time for families, for friends, for people that I really care about. I stopped having interviews and intense study and work sessions starting in spring 2022, so I don't have to put myself into those constant stress to win over employers, to win over professors, and achieving constantly at the cost of my family and the loved ones. So I started to realize that learning and making progression in my career is a marathon and not a sprint. So my advice is that if you have the luxury to enjoy your learning to the fullest, please take your time and always take the healthy route to take some breaks here and there, and definitely seeking closure and clear your mind while do something else to distract you, to relax you from keeping working on complicated modeling homeworks and problems, worrying about grades, jobs. The worst time I had very intense personal mental breakdowns, which was not healthy at all. So trust me, help a lot, and then to take it slower, and then sometimes a healthier thing that you can do to do stuff and push you keep going in the long run. So what are next step? I'm starting a job as a data scientist at one of the coolest company. I'll be relocating to West Coast. I will miss Chicago so much. Chicago has been probably one of the most valuable time in my life, and I'm gonna miss it so much. So at the same time, I'm looking forward to my new life in West Coast. I will keep you guys updated on where I will be relocating to and how's my life in West Coast.